An adult can survive 3 weeks without food, but just 3 nights without deep sleep, and the brain begins to break down like a mild concussion. A Harvard Medical School. You're not really battling insomnia. What's happening is this. You lie down every night, but your body never quite says, it's okay, you can let go now. Falling asleep is natural, but staying in deep sleep, that's a privilege. And sadly, after age 60, many people lose that privilege without even knowing it. I've sat across from hundreds of older patients, from retired farmers in Texas to retired school teachers in Chicago. And they all tell me the same thing with the same weary eyes. I can't remember the last time I slept through the night. They're not having nightmares. They're not in pain. They're not even that stressed. But at 2 or 3 in the morning, like clockwork, they just wake up. And I used to believe it too, that it was just part of getting old. But over time, I realized something deeper. It's not that your body can't sleep. It's that it doesn't feel safe enough to surrender to deep sleep. Because deep sleep isn't a switch you flip. It's a biological agreement, a full-body vote between your brain, your liver, your hormones, and your nervous system. And if just one part of that chain feels threatened, your body will let you drift, but it'll never let you truly rest. WebMD calls it active sleep with sympathetic tone, a kind of fake sleep where your fight or flight system is still quietly on guard even while your eyes are closed. So yes, you're lying there, still, eyes shut, but your heart rate stays elevated. Your liver is still working hard to balance blood sugar. And your adrenal glands are quietly releasing cortisol, that same hormone that wakes you up at 3 a.m. and leaves you staring at the ceiling, not knowing why. That's not insomnia, that's sleep under surveillance, a night where your body never got permission to let go. I want you to imagine this. You're driving down a dark road at night. It's pitch black, no street lights, no traffic, you want to rest. But what if your brakes aren't working? What if your dashboard lights up with warning signals? Would you dare close your eyes and take your hands off the wheel? Your body feels the same. If your liver's running on empty, if your brain's low on serotonin, if your heart rate won't dip below recovery level, then no matter how tired you feel, your body will keep you alert, just in case. Mayo Clinic explains it like this. Older adults often wake up not because of external factors, but because the liver can no longer maintain stable blood glucose levels, leading to a surge of internal cortisol. So again, you're not broken, you're not failing to sleep. It's just that your body no longer feels safe enough to allow deep sleep. And do you know the saddest part? Some people live 70, 80 years and never get to experience what it truly feels like, to wake up feeling restored. But if you're still here, still listening to me right now, that means your body hasn't given up on you. It still wants to heal, it still wants to rest, it just needs a little help. In the next section, I'll tell you about something small, something most people overlook. But when eaten at just the right moment, it sends a quiet message to your nervous system. You're safe now, you can let go. You're allowed to sleep deeply tonight. So if you've ever woken up in the middle of the night with your heart pounding, if you've ever stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m. wondering what's wrong, then stay with me. Because what we're doing here isn't just about tips or tricks, it's about something deeper, a whisper between you and the body that's been waiting all these years to finally rest. I used to believe only medication could fix insomnia. But then one night, I saw my mom do something so simple. She had a slice of bread with peanut butter around 9 p.m. and the next morning. She was up before I was, glowing, smiling, saying, "Last night I slept like a cloud." Not everyone is lucky enough to stumble upon that truth. Many of my patients have spent decades taking sleeping pills, yet still wake up in the middle of the night with that vague, half-floating feeling, like being pulled out of a dream that never finished. "I'm not hungry, doctor," they say, but almost every night around 3 a.m. I just wake up. My heart beats a little fast, and it feels like my body's running on fumes. And I don't say much when I hear that, because I know exactly what it is. That's the liver quietly crying for help. "I'm running out of fuel," it says. "I have to trigger emergency mode to keep you alive." Here's the truth. Deep sleep doesn't run on willpower. It runs on fuel. And the liver, it's your night watchman if you don't give it a little slow-burning fire before bed. It'll have no choice but to light a flare in the middle of the night. And when that happens, cortisol shows up. Your heart speeds up, your brain lights up, you wake up. Cleveland Clinic wrote, "During the night, if blood glucose drops too low, the body releases cortisol to mobilize stored sugar from the liver. But that same cortisol surge disrupts deep sleep. So instead of prescribing pills, I often suggest something else: one slice of whole grain bread, one spoon of natural peanut butter, and a whole new way to listen to your body." Why those two? Because whole grain bread offers complex carbs, slow-releasing energy that keeps the liver from feeling starved. At 3 a.m., peanut butter brings in healthy fats and just enough tryptophan to help build serotonin, which calms your nervous system. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition noted, "A small evening snack combining complex carbohydrates with unsaturated fats significantly reduced nighttime awakenings and improved sleep quality in older adults." But I don't want you to treat this like just another hack. It's not a sleep trick, it's a signal, a message from you to your nervous system. It's okay now, everything is enough, you're allowed to rest. Here's how I guide my patients. One thin slice of whole grain bread, no sugar, lightly toasted or plain. One small spoon of unsalted, unsweetened peanut butter. Eat slowly, sit quietly. No TV, no scrolling, make it a ritual. Let your body recognize this as a gentle invitation to unwind. I remember Ray, 74 years old, calling me after just 4 nights of this. "Doc, I don't know how it worked, but I haven't been waking up at 2:30 anymore. I thought I needed medication. Turns out, I just needed a slice of bread at the right time." See, sometimes healing doesn't come from the strongest thing, but from the gentlest and the most timely. In the next part, I'll share something even lighter. A tiny fruit that wakes up a biological chain that's been asleep since your 60s. It holds more natural serotonin than a pill. And when eaten the right way at the right time, it can help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer. In just 3 nights. I always thought kiwi was just a breakfast fruit. Cool, slightly tart, good for digestion, but I never imagined that something so small could completely change the way I sleep. A former patient of mine, Nancy, 68, called me one evening, and she only said one thing: "I've eaten 2 green kiwis every night for 4 days, and on the 4th night I slept 7 hours straight. No meds, no wake-ups. No dreams. Doctor, I thought sleep like that only existed in memory." You know, most of us look at fruits like kiwi and think, "Oh, probably just some vitamin C." But what very few people realize is, green kiwi is one of the richest natural sources of serotonin. So what's serotonin? It's the foundation, the raw ingredient your body needs to make melatonin. No serotonin, right arrow, no melatonin. You can lie in bed for 8 hours and still wake up exhausted. Mayo Clinic once explained, after age 60, serotonin levels naturally decline due to reduced neural activity and lower tryptophan intake. This drop leads to reduced endogenous melatonin production, one of the main causes of sleep disturbances in older adults. And green kiwi. It doesn't just support serotonin, it brings the full toolkit. Vitamin C and E to reduce neuroinflammation. Folate to support neurotransmitter synthesis. Soluble fiber to stabilize blood sugar and prevent those 3 a.m. glucose crashes that jolt you awake. What's beautiful is none of these elements work in isolation. They arrive together in harmony. In a biological composition, no pill can replicate. One study in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition observed chronic insomniacs who ate 2 green kiwis every night for 4 weeks. The results? They fell asleep 42% faster, slept nearly 1 hour longer per night, and most importantly, woke up far less during the night. There's no knockout punch here. Kiwi won't make you feel drowsy. What it does is much more elegant. It reactivates a biological rhythm your body once knew, but somehow forgot how to follow. I often joke with my patients, sleeping pills are like a hammer. Kiwi, it's a lullaby. It doesn't knock you out. It gently guides your body back to its own rhythm, softly, naturally. But here's something you need to remember. Only green kiwi has this effect. The yellow ones. They're sweeter, yes, but they're missing the key compounds that support sleep. And don't juice it. Don't blend it with yogurt. Don't drizzle honey. Just peel it gently and eat the whole fruit slowly about an hour before bed. Let your body understand, this is not dessert. This is an invitation to sleep deeply. There was an older couple I once worked with. After just 5 nights of eating kiwi together, they messaged me. For the first time in years, we fell asleep at the same time. No more one of us waking the other. That's what deep sleep does. It's not just about recovery. It's about reconnection with yourself and with the person who's been lying beside you all these years. In the next part, I'll tell you about something warm, something nostalgic. It might remind you of childhood, but this time it's not for breakfast. It's designed to gently activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the only system in your body capable of shifting you from survival mode into true cellular restoration. There's something a lot of doctors forget to tell you, and it's this: deep sleep doesn't begin in the brain. It begins in your parasympathetic nervous system. You can't force your body to sleep. You can only invite it to let go. And it's only when your nervous system feels safe enough that it begins to shift into restoration mode. Mayo Clinic once described it like this: the parasympathetic system slows heart rate, lowers blood pressure, relaxes smooth muscle, and guides the body into deep recovery. In other words, if your nervous system hasn't been soothed, you're only dozing on the surface, waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. like someone just tapped you on the shoulder in the middle of a dream. That's when I suggest something to my patients, something they never see coming. Before bed, have a warm bowl of oatmeal. I remember Marjorie, a retired school teacher, chuckling when I first told her, "Oatmeal, doctor? That's for breakfast." I smiled. "Not this time, it's a remedy for your nervous system. Oats aren't medicine, but they carry exactly what an exhausted nervous system craves after 60. Magnesium to relax blood vessels, slow the heart, and calm an overstimulated mind. Vitamin B6, vital for converting tryptophan into serotonin. Complex carbs to release a gentle stream of insulin, helping tryptophan cross into the brain. And most importantly, they offer warmth, fullness, and a sense of safety. Healthline once wrote, Magnesium plays a central role in regulating the HPA axis and helps the body shift into deep restorative states. When paired with slow-digesting carbohydrates, the calming effect increases significantly. But let me tell you something no textbook could teach, something I only learned after hundreds of evenings beside my mother. After she was diagnosed with chronic insomnia, she refused pills. But every night, before turning out the lights, she'd cook a small bowl of oats, add some warm water, and sprinkle just a little cinnamon. "That smell reminds me of when I was little," she said. "My mother would give me this on cold nights. I don't know why, but it just softens everything inside." And it's true, it's not just about nutrients, it's about ritual. A simple, soothing signal that says, "The day is over." Here's how I guide my patients. Use rolled oats, no added sugar. Cook with water or unsweetened nut milk. No sugar, no honey, no condensed milk. Add a pinch of cinnamon or a few slices of soft, ripe banana. Eat 60–90 minutes before bed. No rushing, no scrolling, no TV in the background. 7 days later, Marjorie came back, no longer laughing. She held my hand, eyes soft and full of tears. "Doctor, last night was the first time in 12 years. I slept from 10 p.m. straight to almost 6. I had forgotten what that kind of peace felt like." You see, we've run so far from the simple things, and yet sometimes all it takes is a warm bowl of plain oats. No sugar, no frills. To unlock a recovery system in your body that's been frozen for far too long. In the next part, I'll share something even smaller. A humble little nut. But inside, it holds natural melatonin, the very hormone your pineal gland struggles to make after 60. A quiet gift from nature that helps keep you tucked in deep sleep, like a soft blanket laid gently over a weary day. I once asked an older patient of mine, "Do you remember the last time you slept without needing a pill?" He looked at me, quiet for a long moment, and then shook his head. "No, doctor, I think it was before my son got married." Most people assume sleeping pills are inevitable after 60. It's true, your pineal gland, the one that produces melatonin, naturally shrinks and slows down with age. But here's what most folks don't realize. You don't need a pill to get your melatonin back. You just need a handful of walnuts and a little patience to let your body remember how to sleep on its own. You've probably seen walnuts in muffins or tossed into salads. But when timed right, used as a nightly ritual, they become one of the rare plant-based sources of natural melatonin. Harvard Health Publishing once wrote, "Some plants like walnuts contain natural melatonin, which can help regulate sleep without disrupting your circadian rhythm the way high-dose synthetic melatonin sometimes can." And here's what makes walnuts truly special. It's not just about melatonin. It's about what comes along with it. Plant-based omega-3s, gently calming inflammation near nerve centers. Magnesium and zinc, slowing heart rhythms and softening electrical signals in the brain. And a small dose of tryptophan, the amino acid that kickstarts serotonin, the precursor to melatonin. I remember Bernard, a retired doctor himself, 74 years old. He'd spent decades prescribing sleep meds to patients. Now it was his turn, waking up like clockwork at 2:30 a.m. "I used to think if 10 mg of melatonin didn't work, maybe I needed more," he told me. But turns out, all I needed was 6 walnut halves chewed slowly, and an evening without rushing. Why does it work? Because melatonin from food doesn't knock on the door, it whispers. It enters gently, absorbed slowly, paired with nutrients. Like a soft voice in the hallway, not a hammer at the gate. WebMD once reported a 2-week study. Older adults who ate walnuts nightly showed melatonin levels in their bloodstream 3 times higher than those who didn't. More importantly, their deep sleep increased by 37-42 minutes per night. But here's the beautiful part. It wasn't just about sleeping longer. It was about how they felt when they woke up. No grogginess, no heaviness in the head, no need to sit at the edge of the bed before standing. Deep sleep had returned, not with medication, but with understanding. All you need is 5 to 7 walnut halves, eaten slowly about 45 minutes before bed. Don't pair them with milk, avoid sweet fruits. This isn't a snack. It's a final message to your nervous system. The lights can go off now. Your shift is done for today. True deep sleep isn't made in 10 minutes. It's paved gently. With kindness, with small habits, and with a little respect for this body of yours. Like an old friend who's done a lot for you. In the next part, I'll share something even simpler. Something you've heard of 1,000 times, but never looked at through the lens of biology. A ripe banana. That might be the missing key for a nervous system stuck between being alert and being at peace. I used to think waking up in the middle of the night meant my mind was restless. But then came those nights. When I wasn't worried, I wasn't anxious, still I woke up because my legs would twitch ever so slightly. My heart would beat just a little faster, and my body felt like a tightly strung wire I didn't even realize had been pulled so tight. One of my patients, Susan, 66, once told me through tears, "Doctor, I'm so tired my mind can't even think anymore. But near dawn, I wake up. Not from bad dreams, I just don't feel like I'm being held in sleep." I paused because I understood. Sometimes waking up isn't caused by fear or racing thoughts, but by tiny deficiencies, so quiet they slip under the radar of even your own awareness. Did you know? One of the most overlooked reasons your body can't stay in deep sleep is because your muscles, nerves, and heart aren't getting the minerals they need to stay in rest mode. Cleveland Clinic once reported, magnesium and potassium play critical roles in stabilizing membrane potential, regulating heart rhythm, and relaxing smooth muscle, especially at night. Even mild deficiencies can lead to minor muscle contractions, elevated heart rate, and disrupted sleep. So what's the fruit that holds all three? Magnesium, potassium, and vitamin B6, the trio needed to build serotonin, a ripe banana. Just half a banana, not a whole bunch, not a smoothie. Just half eaten slowly, 45 to 60 minutes before bedtime. What does it offer? Potassium helps regulate nerve and heart signals. Magnesium relaxes the peripheral nervous system, reduces muscular tension. Vitamin B6 supports serotonin production to calm the central nervous system. And a small amount of gentle carbs to keep your blood sugar steady during the first few hours of sleep. Sleep Science Reviews once wrote, adding magnesium and potassium-rich foods to evening snacks significantly reduces nighttime wakefulness in older adults, especially those with mild restless leg syndrome or subtle cardiovascular issues. There was an old fireman I once treated. He told me, I didn't think bananas could help me sleep, but weirdly enough, when I ate half before bed, my heart, it just slowed down. No more thump-thump in my chest at 3 a.m. That's why I call bananas the final soft landing. Not because they make you drowsy, but because they whisper to the muscles and nerves that carry your stress all day long. You can rest now. The alarms have been turned off. Here's how I suggest using it. Half of a ripe banana, not green, not frozen, not blended. Optional, 1 teaspoon of unsalted almond butter or roasted pumpkin seeds to boost magnesium. No milk, no honey, no sugar. After eating, just sit for 5 minutes. Breathe slowly, no scrolling, no news, just be still. Bananas won't knock you out like a pill. They won't sedate you. They'll do something far more important. They switch off the tension you didn't even know you were carrying. And once that happens, sleep arrives without fanfare. No knock at the door, no heavy hand. Just a soft settling like the night breeze on the porch of your childhood. In the next part, I'll share one last seed. It's not sweet, not soft, not easy to love, but if you try it, you might just find yourself sleeping through the night after only 3 days. Because it holds more than magnesium and tryptophan. It's a quiet ally to your nervous system after 60. Have you ever felt like you're not really asleep, like your body is lying still, but inside everything's still running, thoughts soft as fog, but you just can't turn them off? One older gentleman, 75 years old, once described his sleep to me with a line I'll never forget. "Doc, I sleep like an old radio on bad reception. It sounds quiet, but it keeps clicking, popping, and I can't shut it down." That isn't just in his head. It's real. It's a sign that your central and peripheral nervous systems are misfiring. Not in crisis, but not fully calm either. Like a car engine that won't idle down. Mayo Clinic has a name for it: low-grade neurological arousal, not full-blown stress. Just enough background static to keep you from ever sinking into real restoration. So what can calm this state? Not pills, not deep meditation, but a humble mineral we often overlook: magnesium. Magnesium helps regulate the electrical signals between nerve cells. It won't knock you out, but without it, your nervous system can't stay steady long enough to fall into deep sleep. And do you know the food that holds this mineral? Along with zinc, tryptophan, and healthy fats, all wrapped in an easy-to-digest, natural package. Roasted, unsalted pumpkin seeds. Healthline reports: just 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds, about 2 tablespoons, contains up to 37% of your daily magnesium needs. When consumed before bed, they help soothe nerves, steady heart rhythms, and increase GABA, the brain's main calming neurotransmitter. I remember Sheila, 70 years old. After just 3 nights of eating pumpkin seeds, she told me, "I can't explain it, doctor, but my brain just quieted. No hum, no replaying thoughts, like someone finally hit the off switch for me." Here's how to use them. 1 to 2 tablespoons of dry roasted, unsalted pumpkin seeds. Eat them plain, chew slowly, about an hour before bed. You can pair them with half a banana if you get muscle cramps, or a pinch of cinnamon if you tend to feel cold. After eating, dim the lights, avoid the news, and just sit quietly for 10 minutes. Now you might be thinking, can something this simple really work? But that's the point. Deep sleep doesn't need power. It needs preparation. It needs stability. It needs the right signals at the right time from the inside. And sometimes all it takes is a small handful of seeds, at just the right moment, to finally quiet the radio and give your body real rest. In the next part, I'll talk about something that's been deeply misunderstood in the world of sleep. Backhand index pointing right melatonin, once your faithful nighttime friend, now quietly slipping away year after year. And why? Instead of popping a synthetic pill, you might invite it back another way. One that's gentler, more natural, and far wiser. I used to take melatonin, not because I didn't know any better, but because I was simply too tired to figure out what was really happening inside my body. Have you ever felt that way? Bought a bottle, 5 mg, maybe 10. Took it around 9 p.m. Your eyes got heavy. But by midnight you were wide awake again. Then morning came. Your head felt foggy, your neck a little stiff, your mood floating like it never really landed. Let me be clear. You weren't wrong, the pill wasn't wrong. But the problem isn't how much you're taking, it's about how you're using it, and how your body has changed. You see, melatonin isn't a sleeping pill. It's a biological signal, a message your brain sends when it senses. No blue light. A slight drop in body temperature. A slower heart rate. And most importantly, enough serotonin to be transformed into melatonin. According to both Mayo Clinic and Harvard Health, melatonin levels begin to decline after age 45-50, with a sharper drop after 60. External supplementation often disrupts natural sleep cycles, unless paired with biological support to help the body rebuild its own rhythm. Let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? It's like you used to have a dear friend, a nighttime companion called melatonin. Every evening, like clockwork, your friend would meet you, and together you'd walk into deep, restful sleep. But somewhere along the way, your friend stopped showing up. You waited. You tried different things. Eventually, you hired a stand-in, the pill. But here's the thing about stand-ins. They don't know your rhythms. They don't understand your signals. They don't care whether your body is ready. They just push you through the door, whether you're ready or not. What I've learned over 30 years is this. Melatonin only comes back if serotonin shows up first, and serotonin only appears when your body feels safe. Do you remember the green kiwi, the oatmeal, the whole grain toast, the walnuts, the banana? These aren't just bedtime snacks. They're not there to make you full. They're signals, ingredients, messengers. They whisper to your biology, you know how to do this. You've done it before. I'll never forget Georgia, 73 years old. She'd taken melatonin pills for 5 straight years. We stopped them. Instead, she had kiwi at 8:30 p.m., warm oats at 9, and kept a soft amber nightlight on for 30 minutes before bed. 10 days later, she came back with tears in her eyes. Doctor, melatonin came back, not from a pill, from me. Have you ever felt that? Not being forced into sleep, but being welcomed back home. I'm not against medication, but I do believe this. If your body once knew how to do something naturally, it can remember how again, if you help it in the right way. In the next part of our journey, I'll share with you the final food in this series. Not something to knock you out quickly, but something to hold you there, deep, steady through the night, a food that's been misunderstood for years, but when used properly, becomes the quiet gatekeeper of restful sleep in your golden years. Some foods have been blamed for years, branded as troublemakers. But one day you realize they weren't the enemy. They were the quiet ones standing by your side, shielding you from those silent wake-ups at 3 a.m. Have you ever been told, avoid carbs at night if you want to sleep well? Or, eating after 7 p.m. leads to tossing, bloating, and weight gain? I believed it too, until I discovered a simple truth, one that most health advice forgets. It's not carbohydrates that disrupt your sleep. It's how and when you use them. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed a small portion of complex carbs paired with healthy fats 60-90 minutes before bed had significantly fewer nighttime awakenings due to drops in blood sugar. Think back for a moment. How many times have you woken up in the middle of the night? Not because of a nightmare, not because of noise, not even because of your bladder, but just this odd, hollow feeling in your stomach, a lightness, a slightly faster heartbeat, cold hands, maybe even a touch of anxiety. That's not your imagination. That's your liver crying out silently. after working overtime to keep your blood sugar stable all night. With no backup fuel, after age 60, your liver's ability to store glycogen declines sharply. Mayo Clinic confirms. Older adults often experience fragmented sleep because the liver can no longer sustain stable glucose overnight. The body compensates by releasing cortisol, causing early morning awakenings, rapid heartbeat, and disrupted deep sleep. And this is exactly where a small, overlooked pairing comes in. A slice of whole grain toast with a thin layer of natural peanut butter. Whole grain bread provides slow-releasing carbs, keeping your blood sugar steady for 4–6 hours. Natural peanut butter. It brings healthy plant fats, light protein, and just enough tryptophan to help serotonin production, especially when paired with carbs. Together, they're not just food. They're a biochemical message. No need to sound the alarm. Fuel levels are good. You're safe to rest now. I remember my uncle, 78 years old. He woke up every single night at 2:45 a.m. so consistent, he called it his death hour. I told him, no pills. Just try this: one slice of whole grain bread, a light spread of natural peanut butter. Eat it at 9:30 p.m. No TV, no tea, no phone. 4 nights later, he called me, and all he said was, "Last night was the first time in 6 years I didn't see 2:45 a.m. See, carbs aren't the enemy. Carbs used right and at the right time can be your quiet gatekeeper to deep, uninterrupted sleep. And more importantly, they're not addictive. They don't wreck your body clock. They don't require higher doses over time. All they need is a bit of kindness. Each night, from you to your body, you know you've truly slept. Not because you stayed in bed for 8 hours. Not because your alarm woke you up on time, but because you woke without effort, not snapped out of sleep, but gently returned, like coming back from somewhere peaceful. Over the years, I've had hundreds of people ask me, "Doctor, I eat well, I go to bed on time, I don't use my phone at night. So why do I still wake up at 2 a.m. with a racing heart and a mind I can't quiet?" And I always ask one question in return: is there something you haven't yet put down? Dear friend, after a certain age, sleep is no longer just about hormones, food, or bedtime routines. It becomes something deeper. Something about what's unspoken, what's still lingering. A study from Harvard Medical School concluded, sleep disturbances in older adults are often tied not just to physiology, but to unresolved emotional states, such as grief, loneliness, and a loss of control in daily life. I remember Mr. Frank, 74 years old, great diet, no caffeine, regular exercise, and still, every night at exactly 3:00 a.m. he'd wake. We tried everything: oatmeal, kiwi, light therapy. Nothing worked. One evening, I asked him gently, "Are you trying to control something that can't be controlled?" He went quiet for a long while, then whispered, "I can't forgive myself, doctor." Have you ever felt that? Carrying something from years ago. And every night when the lights go off, it returns. Soft but persistent enough to wake you. In cases like that, I don't prescribe another pill. I don't suggest another seed or snack. I only ask for one thing: write, by hand on paper, every night. Write down one thing that made you anxious today. One thing you're grateful for. And one thing you're ready to let go of. The University of Texas Clinical Psychology Department found journaling each night lowers activity in the brain's worry center and strengthens the connection between emotional processing and self-awareness, creating conditions for deeper sleep. One of my patients, Mrs. Ellen, did this for 10 minutes each night for 3 weeks. No pills, no dietary changes, Then one morning she told me, I'm not waking up in the middle of the night anymore. Because for the first time, I listened to myself. You see, your body isn't broken. It's just waiting for your permission to rest. Not just shallow rest, but real restoration inside and out. In the past 9 parts, I've taken you through layers. Hormones, nutrition, nerves, liver, heart, but if none of that has worked yet, maybe what you need isn't more, maybe it's less. Less worry, less control, less self-blame so sleep can return. Like an old friend, not summoned, not forced, just gently present. My friend, if you've stayed with me until this very moment, I'd like to ask you to pause, close your eyes, and ask yourself, when was the last time I truly slept deeply? When did I wake up and not feel like I was climbing uphill from the very first breath of morning? When was the last time I didn't need coffee, didn't need an alarm clock, and still felt ready to live my day fully? Sleep, it seems so ordinary, but once we pass 60, it becomes one of the most precious gifts we have. And the strange truth is, the harder we chase it, the further it slips away. But the more gently we treat ourselves, the more we listen to our body. Sleep finds its way back, quietly, fully, at the right time. In these 10 chapters, we've walked through a journey together. From the tiny kiwi with its natural serotonin, to the humble walnut and plant-based melatonin, through slices of whole-grain bread and peanut butter, to oats, pumpkin seeds, and even the quiet power of journaling before bed. But none of these are just health hacks. They're languages, soft signals your body has been whispering night after night, waiting for you to respond. Did you see yourself in some of the stories I told? Have you ever woken up at 2:30 a.m., your heart racing, and not really known why? If you have, let me say this to you, you are not alone. Millions of people over 50 are quietly walking the same path, but you've just taken one step ahead. Now I know it's hard to apply everything at once, but if I could offer one thing, start tonight with just one thing, just one kiwi, walnut, pumpkin seed, or a few lines in a notebook. Then simply listen to your body. No pressure. No control, just patience and trust. And if one morning you wake up and think, hey, I don't feel heavy today. I didn't wake up tired. I feel like myself again. Then gently pat your own shoulder and whisper, my body has been waiting for me to come home. I want to thank you, sincerely, for staying with me until the very end. That's a gift I never take lightly. Thank you for your trust, for listening, and for letting me walk alongside you on this journey back to yourself. If anything I said resonated with you, please tell me in the comments below. What are you trying right now? What are you still struggling with? What topic would you like me to explore next? I read every single comment, and I promise I'll respond. Seedling, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Here at Vigor Without Age, I don't just share medical facts. I share hope, understanding, and real tools to help you live well, no matter your age. And to you, the one listening right now, I wish you strength like new buds after rain, peace like your final breath before bed, joy even if it's just from half a kiwi, and luck even if it's simply the luck of sleeping through the night without a dream. If you try what I've shared and still don't see improvement, backhand index pointing right, please talk to your doctor. Every body carries its own story, and sometimes it takes someone who really listens to find the key. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video. And if you're ready tonight, say this softly to your body. We are enough now. It's okay to rest.